Welcome to Education Matters. I'm your talk show host, Mr. Kamambogwa. And as you may be aware, the talk of the curriculum reform is very much in the air. And in the very near future, in the next few days, we'll be having the stakeholders conference at KICD, where the developers of the curriculum, the proposed new curriculum, will be making a presentation to stakeholders. And today, I am privileged to have with me a representative from KICD, who will give us a snapshot, an overview of exactly what curriculum reform is all about, what they have been able to do, and what will follow. Please, most welcome.
Thank you so much.
Johnston.
Thank you.
Kindly introduce yourself to our viewer.
Okay, thank you. I'm Mr. Johnston Ochuma from Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. My title is Assistant Director in charge of technical courses.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Curriculum reform,
Yes.
2017.
Yes.
Why do we have to reform?
Okay. The reform was informed by so many documents which were looked at, like the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We also had the Kenya Vision 2030. We also had Basic Education Act 2013. Then we also have our own act, that is the KICD Act of 2013. You know, we changed the name from KIA to KICD. So all these documents were looked at, and they are part of what informed us on curriculum reforms. Number two, if again you look at the views of Wananchi, what they have been talking about as the system being condemning our pupils in schools. There are several subjects which have been given to them to do at the primary school. At the same time, if you look at what they are expected to have, the work is too much. So with all this, we had to think otherwise, whether to reform or carry out the review.
Somebody may ask that we are reforming and not reviewing.
Good.
So if we are reforming, then you're talking of drastic changes.
Yes.
Where exactly did the 844 system fail? And this 844 system is the one that we are riding on now, of course, until when the proposed one comes into place. What are the weak points of the 844 that it necessitates a radical reform, not even a review?
As I've mentioned some few minutes ago, the system is more theoretical. It has been perceived to be too theoretical. When you teach a child a content, you are expecting this child to perform in the world of work. So practically, theoretically is good because he has gotten the knowledge and all that. But practically, if you give him the work which is expected to do as per his grade, obviously he will not be able to do. And at the same time, if you look at the evaluation system, the way they are being assessed as they carry out the education, as they get their education, you find an examination which is given at the end of 8 years in primary.
Lasting 1 hour.
Lasting 1 hour.
Yes.
It's not enough. Say, for example, maybe the pupil was affected in a way, then he performs very poorly in that 1 hour paper. Does it mean that this person cannot do anything in the world of work?
They so suggest, but of course.
So that is why people say the system condemns our pupils. So in order for us to reform, in fact, we thought of, instead of reviewing the system which is still condemning, then why can't we carry out even the overhaul, which includes even the assessment method? We change the way we evaluate our pupils so that...
Now, when you talk about evaluation, that one rings a bell in my mind. Can you clarify this idea, this information? Is it right or wrong? Is it true or not true? That there is a high likelihood that the proposed curriculum will do away with the terminal exam that we used to the KCP and KCSE?
Obviously, it is going to do away with the current assessment method that is at the end of the last year, to be precise, at the end of Standard 8.
So we do away with that, and what will come in?
What will come in, we value so much what the pupil does in class. So it is the responsibility of the teacher to do the assessment right from classroom. Because if I give a problem to be solved, say for example in mathematics, I expect this pupil to solve the problem correctly and apply, not just a matter of solving, because he'll solve, he'll get the knowledge on how it is supposed to be done, but where can you use that information in your everyday life? So that is why we thought of coming with competence-based education. What is it that you can do with the education that you have acquired?
We are still looking at the rationale, the justification for the shift. Now, when it was decided that we have to review, then we go to the process, the due process. Kind of give us an overview of the steps that is required to be taken, or from where you started, how far you have come, and what's going to happen next in as far as the reform process is concerned. The breakdown of the steps.
First of all, it must be justified in a scientific process. So, with all these documents which I've just mentioned to you, and what we have heard from Wananchi, we had to find out, we carry out a small research, what we call the training needs assessment, the TNA. So we went all over the country, we developed tools, we disseminated the tools to various people in the field. We got that data.
What sort of time and how long did that one take? Or how long should that take?
In fact, dissemination of tools to the field, analysis and giving out the report took us a maximum of 1 month.
1 month.
Within a 1 month we did it. Yeah. So after that 1 month we did the analysis, we wrote the report, we called the stakeholders, and then they ratified the report. It was adopted. Yes.
So having done that now, you have done the assessment, you have convinced yourself it needs to be done, so you are given the approval to kind of reform. What did you do next? Which is now likely to be what you are likely to be presenting to the nation next week.
Correct. After they adopted the report, we had to come up with a framework, because we must give into details each and every activity that we are supposed to be doing as pertains to the reforms. So a framework was developed, and it is what is going to be presented to the stakeholders. If it is adopted, then we'll be moving to the next activity which is stipulated within that framework, that is the curriculum designs.
So that one now forms the basis upon which you have the stakeholders conference on Monday.
Precisely.
So who is expected to attend, and how inclusive, how effective is that?
It is going to be inclusive. It is going to be all for all the Kenyans, all the education stakeholders, teachers, principals, colleges, universities, and all that. All will converge at KICC on Monday to look at what has been proposed. If it is adopted, then we'll move to the next step.
Okay, thank you. We'll take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will get a breakdown of the proposals that the KICD has already done, which is likely to be presented on Monday. Stay tuned, watch channel. Welcome back. This is Education Matters with my guest, Johnston Ochuma. We are discussing the curriculum reform and the proposed new curriculum, the stakeholders conference, which will be coming on Monday next week. And we have already laid the foundation. We have said the BCF has been presented. I would like to hear now, what are the proposals that you as the curriculum developers that you are putting to the stakeholders come Monday?
Thank you so much. Now, as I mentioned to you, that in the training needs assessment, we wrote a report. The report was adopted, and it is presented to the Education Ministry. Now, from the Education Ministry, they are supposed to come up with a policy which guides on what to be done at each and every step we make. Now, they are given us the policy, which is entrenched in the framework which we have developed. Now, the next step which you're supposed to move to is what we call the curriculum design. Now, we'll move to the nitty-gritty areas of what we're supposed to give the child, what he's supposed to learn. And as I've mentioned to you some minutes ago, that it is going to be competency-based learning. This time around...
What exactly do you mean by competence? Can you break down this question? And how do we measure competence?
Correct. Competence-based learning means learning a certain content. And I'm expected to do something with the content that I've learned, for that matter. So, for example, I'm doing a sum, a mathematical problem. Yes, I solve it, then I apply it in the everyday life. How is it going to help me? So, in the proposed system that we have had, we are supposed to do the designs. During the designs, this is where we highlight all the areas and the subject areas which are going to be learned, and even the skills which we are expecting to impart in these children. Because it is just a matter of the skills. What is it that I can do with the knowledge that I've acquired?
What are the highlights of the competencies that the proposed curriculum intends to articulate or to pass for the learner?
There are several. To mention just a few, maybe literacy. Yeah, we expect them to know how to read, how to write. Now, knowing how to read and write, how is it going to help you? Yes. Things like communication. Can you write a sentence? Can you do, what can you do with the communication for that matter? So it's just learning and application, learning and application. So that at the end of the day, I'm expecting this child to have all that which he requires in life. Things like value, things like competence, what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a good, right citizen of Kenya. All around. If you give him some work to do, he'll be able to do it competently. Now, if I go to competency, this involves skills, several skills which I'm expecting this child to do. So first of all, we'll have to develop standards. I've given you this work to do. How much will I be satisfied that you've done the work? So we develop the standards, then we compare with what the child is producing.
Let's go now to the element of the structure.
Yes.
The ordinary Kenyan, our viewer who is watching us from the comfort of his house, is used to numbers 844. Give us the structure of this proposed new curriculum.
The proposal, it is in public domain, it is 2663. By 2 I mean pre-primary, what we call the nursery school at the moment. Then the next 6 years, the first 2 years, in fact we are not going to call them, because the education system that we are proposing to have is going to be based on the age of the child. Yes? So instead of calling them standard 1, standard 2, standard 3, we are going to call them grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, going by the number of years which that pupil is at that particular time.
So now we are saying 2633 or 2663.
It is 2663.
Right.
By that I mean, I was coming to that. The first 3 years, it is what we call, the first 2 years is the pre-primary, the one which we at present is the nursery school. Then the next 3 years, the first grade 1, grade 2 up to grade 3, it is going to be called lower primary. Then it will be followed by upper primary, which will start from grade 4, 5, 6. So the first 6 is done, lower primary and upper primary. Then we move to the next 6. The first grade 7, grade 8 and grade 9 will form the lower secondary. Yes? Then the next 3 years, grade 10, 11 and 12 will be the high school, senior high school for that matter.
Well, now, a question arises there.
Yes.
How do you manage this transition from one level to the other? What will be the indicators that a child is supposed now to transit from this 6 to the other 3 or to the other 6? How do we manage the transition of the learner? Having already said a few minutes ago that we are doing away with the terminal exam.
What the child does in class will count a lot. Because in most cases, the current system, if you compare it with the current system where the work, somebody will be judged on the last examination he will take in the last class, for example, standard 8. But in this system, what the child does in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 will count. How is it going to be done? The teacher who will be involved in teaching must keep records of what this child is doing in class continuously. So these are some of the marks which will be submitted to the examining body. And the main examining, that one does not mean that everything is going to be judged from what is learnt in class. There will be 30%. Final examination, which they'll do, combined with this continuous assessment, will give the grade or in fact, we are not going to talk of the grade. We are going to talk of either a child is competent or not competent.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, so in this case, is it, what are the intended implications in as far as transition needs are concerned?
Each and every class, the pupils must transit. See, we are trying to eliminate.
So are we likely to have 100% transition?
Correct. That is what we are expecting.
Yes.
Because we have even spread the boundary to include basic education will end at Form 4. What we call at the present time Form 4, that is grade 12. That is what we are going to call basic education, as opposed to this time where it ends at standard 8, going by what we know. So it means each and every level a child must transit. There is no idea of repeating. If he has to repeat, if he is not good in an area, then the teacher must correct this. For example, during the class time, when they are doing some problem and he has performed so well, the teacher will notice this and he'll give him a similar one so that he can move with the rest.
Fine, thank you. So now you have given us a structure. Then the next best question I will follow is, when we are talking about competence-based education,
yes.
I'm hearing of a new term which I'm hearing known as pathways and what pathways. We are proceeding for a break. When we come back, I would like to hear what exactly is a pathway and where will these pathways? I hear the pathways are several, some are provided in this school and not in the other school. How do you go about that? Don't go everywhere. Our guest is still around to give us more details about the new curriculum. And when we come back, we'll be looking at the pathways. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Watch and learn. Welcome back. This is Education Matters with your host, Mr. Kamambogwa, and my guest, Mr. Ochuma.
Yes.
Mr. Ochuma, we left it off at the point where we have agreed that we'll have pathways. What are these things you're calling pathways? In very simple language.
Good. These are the learning areas. At the present time, we don't consider people with special talents.
Yes.
Somebody can be so good in sports, but what can he do with sports? Nobody is recognizing this. So this new system is going to recognize.
So how many pathways do we have?
We have several pathways. At the moment, we have 3 main pathways which are again subdivided into different areas. We have sports, arts and sports. We also have social sciences, and then we have science and technology, what we call the STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So those are the core 4 pathways. Now within these pathways, they are further subdivided into different learning areas. For example, in STEM, we have applied sciences, we also have technical and engineering, we have pure sciences, and what we call the CTS, career path services, career reform services, something like that.
So now, the selection for the pathways, or the kind of now the choices for the pathways.
Yes.
Where will it be happening? Will it be happening in the transition from upper primary to lower secondary, or will it be happening between lower secondary to senior school? Where is that selection or the opting in and out of the pathways?
It starts right from, I would say, it starts from grade 1. Why am I saying that? Because as a pupil might be so much interested in these engineering things, but he might not know. So in the content which we have proposed, we have tried to even include certain simple aspect of engineering to ensure that if his interest is in that area, by the time he is reaching his secondary school, he has now decided that I want to take this particular path. So from that point, his path, with the help of the teachers, he'll try to grow it up to maybe university if he wants. So the paths are designed, in most cases, they take them at upper secondary. That is the high school, the senior high school. So for example, if one is taking technology, there are certain subject areas which have been inculcated in the sciences which are learned at the lower the lower levels.
Yes.
So this one informs this guy that kumbe this thing is leading me
There, in this particular
is in this particular pathway.
Yes.
So after reaching grade 11 and grade 12, this is where he's now going to decide. Now, the fact that I like technology, which technology now can I base my mind on? Is it on woodwork? Is it in metalwork? Or is it in mechanical engineering?
Yes.
So he picks an area from there. And then the sky is the limit for him. Yes.
Right. So then what happens when it comes to the schools themselves, when they are opting which pathway to provide? Are they going to provide all of them, or are they going to provide some of them? Again, I think conscious of the fact that every pathway will have its own implications, especially budgetary implications. So is maybe the senior school, for example, are likely to offer all the pathways or some of them?
Some of them, like the way I explained it to you some few minutes ago.
Yes.
The one which we call Career Technology Services, the CTS path.
Yes.
It's more like a school offering one of the technical subjects.
Yes.
Then they major on it. That is also a path. Then we were thinking of bringing back our former technical schools, pure technical areas, where if I'm so much interested in automotive engineering, for example, immediately I'm through with grade 10.
The lower secondary.
The lower secondary.
Junior secondary. So.
Junior secondary. My interest is in motor vehicle engineering or automotive engineering for that matter.
Yes.
Instead of going to the university to do the same, which is done at the CTS, why can't I join this technical institution so that I become pure technical? Yeah? So that if it is automotive, I learn automotive from the onset. If I pass, if I get the grade to take me to university, these are the people who are going to train us engineers.
Right, so that's the overview of the proposed.
Yes.
Then on Monday, you are taking it for endorsement by the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Options are they will turn away, they will say it's not a good idea, it's a good idea with amendments, or it's a perfect idea. Let's assume the best case scenario. It has been approved. What follows from there?
What should follow is what is called the curriculum design. I was trying to follow the path of curriculum development process. Immediately they say yes to us, they'll now give us that mandate now to develop the syllabuses and regulations for this particular course. And for you to develop a syllabus, there are certain steps. The first step is what is called the curriculum syllabus design. In the design is what I've explained to you, that you put in the content which is supposed to be learned. Then after the design, you move to the next step, that is writing. You have to write it now into details of what you are expecting, because you cannot just propose that I'm going to learn about engineering. Engineering is too wide. I must limit it at each and every level.
Assuming the best case, again, coming back to being very optimistic, and let's say, okay, you have not taken the endorsement, the stakeholders are saying it's okay, or maybe minor amendments, maybe the amendment. How soon are we going to see it in class? Are we going to implement it this year, the other year, and why?
The proposal has it that it is not going to be implemented straight away, the way we did to the 844. Yeah? We
don't want to run the risk of...
Not really. In curriculum development process, we have what is called piloting. You do a program, then you test if it is working. But this time round, supposing you do a curriculum and then it fails, where will you take these pupils who shall have gone through the system? You treat them as guinea pigs. So instead of having that, we are going to do phase implementation. Like in 2018, as per the proposal, we are supposed to have the pre-primary and then grade 1, 2, 3. First in 2018.
Yes.
2018. Which means these other processes like design, development, editing, and all that must be done before 2018, within this particular year. At the same time, before I forget, at the same time when a curriculum is done, we must develop support materials. Because I cannot just come up with a content, then I tell you this is the content we want to teach. I must give you the guideline.
Yes.
So I must develop curriculum support materials. So these support materials is what the teacher is going to use.
Yes.
But before that is done, I must also prepare the teacher. Because this is the new curriculum. It's the same teacher whom you are going to find in the school.
Teachers are still meaning the same implementers.
Correct. So immediately the curriculum is through, I must prepare the teacher. Do orientation about the curriculum, bring him on board on how he's supposed to conduct or implement that particular curriculum. So after doing that, I'll further invite him to come and help me do the materials, because they're the people who are deep.
Now, we are running
right
short
there.
of time. We are running short of time, and I really don't want to conclude until I get a few things correct. There's other issue of local languages attachment area.
Yes.
The areas of the issue of ICT integration, the issue of SNE, special needs education. I would want you, in your concluding remarks, to address those issues. How have they been taken care of in your proposal?
In the paths which I've just explained,
Yes.
under arts and sport, social sciences and all that, ICT is a must. We are also thinking of bringing back even the mother tongue, our languages. Our children are running out. They don't know even their mother tongue. We must bring them back. Yeah? So, all those areas which you have mentioned are going to be included in the proposed curriculum. So during the design, they are going to take a space in that particular syllabus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ochuma. We may not be able to really exhaust it all. What I will kindly request, and I want to make a commitment to the viewer, is that I will be looking for you.
Please.
I will be eager to look for you maybe immediately after we have the stakeholders forum. I want you to come back here and tell us whether the Wanjiko has endorsed or Wanjiko has an issue with the proposed curriculum, and if any issues, whether they like the amendments. And on that account of viewer, this is Education Matters. We are now a little bit more informed. We will get more information, especially after the conference, the stakeholders conference, BCEF conference coming on Monday, the 30th. Until next time, watch and learn.